Great. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited today to be interviewing a male success story, one of our clients. He's amazing. His name is Thee Smith, and he has found his true love. And that is the whole point of this, is to have really conscious love and be in another paradigm. Thee is a clergy in the clergy, and he's a retired professor, and he's a really special guy. And I'm so excited that you get to meet him. Thee, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for making this happen, Barry. I'm so pleased with the Meet to Marry program and its results in my life. So I'm delighted to share what I've experienced here.
You know that everyone wants to hear. People have been asking, "Oh, you always interview women. Would you please interview some men?" And so we are going to do that. So, Thea,
Excellent.
well, let's start at the beginning. What was your dating and relationship life like when we first came together?
So I was recovering from a breakup with my life partner. We had taken lifelong vows. I'm a clergy person, so I made a commitment, uh, and it just was, it had not worked out. So we had parted ways, and I had a year or two to reflect on that and do some healing work on that, and then, but also recognize that that I was, I needed a partner. That's the way my personality and my life goals. And so I was looking at dating curricula and came across Meet to Marry, and actually, um, I had archived your advertisement from years before because there was something distinctive about about the way in which you said, are you making the same mistakes over again, or are you finding yourself in relationships that don't work out, and would like to take a look at that and address that with new opportunities. So the tone and character of your marketing was just right for me. Even at the time though, I recognized that it probably would appeal more to women, but that didn't get in my way. I wasn't going to let that be an issue.
And that's the stellar kind of guy that he is. Exactly. That's great. And so so you were open and you realized that you wanted to get some support. Had you tried anything else before?
Yes, I was. It's just lunch. I was in that curriculum. Um, I suppose that was the only curriculum I was. I mean, aside from the conventional curricula, like conventional dating apps like Match.com and eHarmony. And in fact, as a clergy person, I had been used eHarmony to help couples who were preparing for marriage. So I was familiar with that and
Yeah.
had used it, in fact, in one of my previous relationships, previous marriages. We had used the eHarmony platform in terms of questionnaires. It was, as a scientific way of figuring out if you're rightly matched
Yeah.
with a partner. So eHarmony, it's just lunch, and the regular dating apps. Uh, uh, Black people meet, and and also one that was very fascinating to me that I had used called Meet Mindful. Um, just the very language of being mindful about dating and about partnering and matching was attractive to me, and I discovered some of that ethos also in Meet to Marry program, your program, mindfulness.
So what kinds of people you were skilled? You use some of these curriculum, you've used dating sites, it's just lunch. So what kind of people were you meeting? Like what didn't like obviously those things didn't
Oh
work.
my,
Well, what,
my, my goodness. I could say that I, I could never, the, the folks presented seem to be professionally or vocationally or I don't know how to say this, aspirationally not a fit for me. Um, I never got a kind of a wow experience. I mean, there were attractions in terms of physical appearance and certain career qualifications like professional credentials, education, and so on. But nothing. But no, there was no sense of, in terms of reading people's profiles, statements. this is, this is the kind of person I'm looking for.
Exactly. Right. So when those things don't work, being a high achiever yourself, you look for something else that will work. Right. And so we work in two phases. There's the inner and the outer. So what stood out for you as a breakthrough in the first phase of looking at yourself? I mean, you're a self-actualized special person. Like, did anything stand out about what might have been causing meeting, not the wow person?
Well, in working through the Meet to Marry program, I was very clear. What stood out was way the invitation, the exhortation, encouragement, requirement actually to say goodbye to my ex, to really get closure on that previous relationship because I was still kind of wounded. Described myself once as a sick puppy, wounded
Yeah.
with the loss of that relationship, kind of you know um, in travail, and so the curriculum actually helped me make a decision to close the door on that, to not be clinging to that, to not have a long goodbye, but to have a kind of clean break. And I would say the curriculum, the Meet to Marry program enabled me to facilitate my making a clean break. And then the great excavation work you do on discovering your dysfunctional story in your family system, the disempowering story as you described it, and
Yeah.
reparenting oneself. So what is it in your background that has led to certain kinds of relationships that are not fully rewarding? What's the family script that keeps that happening for you, that disempowers you to go out and find the person who really meets your needs? The person who is not, or kind of recycling of your family system issues,
Right. Right.
uh,
Right.
and and uh, and reclaiming power to take a look at that and rescripting that.
So for all of you listening, can you see that B was already pretty self-aware in the clergy? Yet there are things within us that we don't realize, being still connected to an ex, incomplete family systems that maybe we know about, but we don't know how we're hooked in and how we're repeating it. So that's amazing. I love how open you always were and how super coachable. And so
Well, that
now,
was
yeah.
that was that was part of the process was getting getting hope that that being coached would matter, that there was something coachable. There was a goal, and then having to kind of redecide again and again that I would trust that and test that.
I love that. And that's what is special about high achievers is that willingness, that readiness. Yes, I'm willing to be coached because it's only through mentorship and you're used to contributing to other people and helping them,
Yeah.
right? You help so many people as a peer counselor in the clergy, but now was time that you get contributed to, right?
Yes, one way to say it is getting back as much as I give to others. As I have been involved for decades in a peer counseling program, reevaluation counseling, co-counseling.
Yes.
And in fact, people those counselors were concerned that I needed some kind of breakthrough experience, that I doing something differently than what I've done before. Bye bye blind spots was one of your curriculum, one of the Meet to Marry program processes, exercises, stages, steps, and discovering what my blind spots were, places where I wasn't seeing how I was deciding. I was playing into finding partners who I was setting myself up for not finding the right kind of partner as a blind spot. And so learning what those blind spots were and then being able to say, been there, done that, don't need to keep doing that, bye bye. Saying goodbye to
Bye
those.
bye.
Bye bye. Yeah.
Bye bye. No, I love that. Right. Because it's really part of a pattern. And that's why it is a blind spot So there's no shame about it. It's just very human. But this process really does reveal the truth and then gives you access to freedom. So I love that. And speaking of freedom, then you went into phase two, which is empowered dating. And there's such
Yes.
a great story here. Yet you met someone wonderful. So tell us what was different about that journey of empowered dating towards meeting Jennifer. What happened
Well,
there?
first of all, asking us to declare a moratorium on dating, just to stop, stop for a while. Don't date until we're ready for this dating stage, and then kind of qualifying to be in dating camp to start the dating process, and then getting coached. Getting my vision chart or vision board ready for that. How to write a profile, what to say in a profile, what not to say, what kind of pictures to post. So feeling like I was having it like someone holding my hand through that process.
Yeah.
The dating apps can feel like a kind of Wild West wilderness, like a gaming phantasmagoria, and so setting myself, no, how to navigate disappointments, how to keep a high profile, a positive mindset. You kept coaching us to keep a positive mindset, and to believe that there were people who were like myself, who could be trusted and honestly questing to find someone as I was. Um, However, often one is disappointed in not getting any responses to one's chats. So all of that, yeah, dating camp was very helpful.
So you started dating and you started going through this empowered process, right? Because we get super clear about our emotional needs, your vision, educational requirements, how you want to feel, like the whole best friend, soulmate partner, right?
Yes,
And then what happened? Tell us the
and well,
story.
and so Jennifer and I met in November of last year, 2023, and what was appealing was her profile statement. I mean, you been working with you. I had crafted my profile statement to attract a certain kind of person, and and she keeps reminding me, she actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, I like your profile statement. What do you think of mine?" Or, shall we take this to the next conversation level? Her profile statement stood out as somebody who knew what she wanted, and I remember her saying something like, "I'm looking for a man who is not angry or dogmatic." That really got my attention. It's like, oh, I could do that. I like the clarity of that, the call, the challenge to show up in a certain way, as to lean into certain aspects of my own way, the way I wanted to be in the world, be seen and be called out.
Yeah.
And my profile statement was about finding someone who could be sustainably affectionate, um, who could sustain affection, because that had been an issue in previous relationships, sustained affection. So anyway, we said let's talk, and then I realized suddenly that a little bit after the fact, after we had said let's set up a phone chat, video chat, I said, "Oh, she's in New Orleans. I'm in Atlanta. I thought I put in my filter, just people who were in the Atlanta area." And I said that to her in the chat response, and she said, "Well, if if that's the kind of thing that can get in your way, maybe we're not a good match after all. Long distance relationships isn't something you can, if you're not willing to go long distance to find somebody that really matches you, maybe that we should be having this conversation." So that was a challenge as well. So I admired the way she took charge, called me out, challenged, and so I said, "No, let's have that video chat, and maybe I'll see you in New Orleans." And so video chat was very compelling. So you were very clear that in these video chats to interview your match with meaningful questions, not just kind of conventional questions about where you went to school or where do you like to travel, but meaningful questions like how, what what were you less than satisfied with in your previous relationships, and what would you do again if you had the opportunity? What would you do differently? Questions like that.
Right.
And
We
and she
share and we
answered.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you say that? To share and
We share and then ask to
right.
open it
So
up. Right.
I made sure I answered that question, what I would do differently, and I listened to her answer, and it was persuasive. So I said, and then also you encourage us to end the, spend no more than say a half an hour and end that time with a clear decision as to whether or not this person is viable, and tell them so. And so I practiced that over about 20 or more than 20 or so such video chats and previous calls. And by the end of this one, I was ready to say, "Hey, Jennifer, let's try to see each other in person." And
Love
we did.
it.
So
And what happened? Did you go to New Orleans or did she
I
come
went
to
I went
Atlanta?
I went to New Orleans in January, and uh, from having matched in November, I think that's how long it took me just to do the logistical showing up. And I don't know how to say this. She so what I have you had encouraged us to believe that it was possible that we could find somebody who was easy to talk to, who was you didn't have to like struggle for in a conversation, as if you had known them for years before, and it was like that. We were we were prepared to be friends, to get to know one another's friends, and so it was magical. The fact that it was not hard work to have a conversation to work at. Um,
So what are you most excited about now with your relationship with Jennifer?
well, Jennifer arranged while I was there for a meet and greet for me to meet both family and her network of friends. Just she took charge of that, of our kind of getting into each other's lives in that way. And so when she visited me later in April in Atlanta, I returned the favor and did the same thing with family and friends and colleagues.
Mm.
Um, and we did a little travel, from Atlanta to Savannah, Hilton Head, and so on. So we got to know each other's, you know, way of being in the world. Driving in the car, dating while driving, that sort of thing. Learning what can be challenging in conversations or conflicts or disagreements. Um, what am I excited about? Well, Jennifer is at a different stage of retirement than I am. We're both retirees, except that I've got leftover projects from my career that as a retiree, I finally have time to complete, like writing a book, for example. Jennifer has decided she's not interested in continuing her career trajectory. She was formerly married and widowed to a writer, so she's happy to support my writing. She's also happy to model for me some ways of having a life outside of those projects, and having a commitment to a person in addition to those projects.
Yes.
So I'm excited to be coached by her on having a balanced life, a work love balance,
Oh,
um, which I've not always learned well to do well. And so there's a way in which she's relaxedly not driving herself in a way that I still am as a scholar, writer, and I'm looking forward to kind of decompressing from that at the same time as being supported, lovingly supported to fulfill projects that are still meaningful.
so Thea, what would you tell people who are listening today about, making an investment in getting coached and having real support?
It's worth every investment dollar, every investment hour, every way you have to change your lifestyle, so that you can make time to work through the curriculum. You were a great cheerleader for that, and I think at various times I just had to trust that you knew what you were talking about. Um, so finding a program where you can trust the trainer that the process could 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 achieve everything you were saying. I would say I would encourage folks to invest in that, to let that be real, to try that. I was still wonder how you can be so confident that everyone
15
can find the
years.
right person for them.
I know myself. I lived through it, and I didn't think it was possible until I changed my paradigm, my reality. 15 years, more than 1,000 people. That is how I know, because if you exist, your soulmate exists.
Mm.
And in the old paradigm, again, it's very it's unconscious. It's unconscious, it's mystery dating, it's repeating the past. So we need the courage to shift out of that. And you're in the clergy to be a creator,
Yes.
and partner with the creator, to let go and let go of the stories and reframe and create optimism. Because most of us don't know healthy love. It wasn't modeled, we weren't trained. And so we're just left with like bad advice.
Yes. Both Jennifer and I have had previous marriages. I mean, we've both been widowed. And so we
Yeah.
both had the experience of having a partner that we would love to have spent the rest of our lives with, but unfortunately that was taken away. And so I love that expression, can lightning strike twice, having the belief, the faith, and making the effort to see if it'll strike again. That's what we've both done. Yeah.
I love Jennifer already. She's inspiring, and you're both expansive and ready to really enjoy each other in this beautiful adventure for life. Yeah, for the rest of your lives, whatever
I
God
love the
gives
way
you.
you I love the way you describe use the term creator. We're both creators in that way, taking charge
Totally.
and
And
and yes.
being in your essence, right? In the old paradigm where sometimes people pleasing and overly helping and not letting go, but letting go is part of life. When something is not resonating and it ends, we move on. And you did that.
Yes.
You were courageous and you did it.
Yes. And there's just so many little pieces here that I'm wanting to make sure we share, but um, I may have additions I want to get back to you on as
We
I
could
as I
do it again because your relationship's going to expand. You're going to expand as things develop. But this is so great, and we're so excited for you. And I'm going to share some pictures of you guys together.
Oh,
And
good.
yes, definitely. So, Dee, thank you so much for your time and for your generosity and sharing. I know everyone is going to be really inspired wherever they are.
Thank you, Barry. And I do want to say that I mean, finding someone who does meditation like I do, who has a spiritual path, claims that. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but it has to be compatible with my spiritual path. We
Yeah.
made that clear. We know we forged that kind of reassurance to one another, and so all, it's I I'm delighted and look forward to, I don't know how to say this, sharing with people. Uh, Everyone in my life, my family and friends know that I worked hard at this. I mean, I shared the curriculum with them as I was doing it, and they're all cheering us on for it having been a success. Thanks again.
Yes. Well, sending you guys so much love and thank you so much. And we're gonna keep this going. We're gonna
Thank
share
you,
this
Barry.
beautiful life. Thank you, B. See you
All right,
soon.
friend.
Bye.
Peace. Bye bye.
Bye.